What is up, YouTube? Little Loud Pocket here, and as you can see, I'm holding the keys to a vehicle. Now you're probably wondering, Roman, what vehicle do those keys belong to? And the answer to that question would be a 1997 Jeep Wrangler. Long story short, I got online, started looking, and I just so happened to scroll past this. This Jeep has the inline 6, a 5-speed manual transmission, and it's lifted. On top of that, this beautiful ride is sitting on a pair of 20-inch American Trucks bomb rims mated to a pair of 35-inch mud claws. Alright, so enough of the chit chat, let's get down to business. My main objective for today, if I can get it open, is to mainly tidy up the inside in here. I went ahead and removed some of these screws because the speaker wasn't working, but I'm gonna go through here and clean some things up. I noticed that this guy, the cigarette lighter, whatever you want to call that, does not work. This speaker right here was not playing any sound. In other words, that speaker was blown. I already went ahead and took it out off camera. And I may or may not go ahead and wire in a pair of subs. I'm not really sure what I have for real estate back here as far as the speaker box goes, but I think I can make something work. I don't know if I'm going to leave the back seats in or not, but either way it goes, we're still gonna send it. After removing a majority of the dash, I was able to gain access to this panel right here. Now, what I started out by doing was unplugging this little guy right here, which is the main plug for the back of the cigarette outlet. And I hooked my voltmeter up to it, and this plug was reading 12 volts, which is what you want. Now, I checked the connection, that little pin right there, that little circle, and I checked the negative, which is the outer walls of this, and I had a reading of 0, which means that in between this plug and these connections, there was pretty much there was a disconnection somewhere. And that was caused by a bunch of rust, which you can kind of see still in there. So what I went ahead and did was take a bunch of sandpaper. I unplugged this obviously and took some sandpaper on the end of a pencil and just rubbed it around in there and sanded all the connecting surfaces down, and it works now. From this point, I've went ahead and popped out this little button for right here, and I'm going to take this guy and drill a hole in here and have this button hopefully fit through this little square. Okay. So we've got this hole drilled right here. It's a little rough on the edges, and I've got my button right here, and hopefully these two fit. Let's go ahead and ram horn this in there a little bit. Sure there's boots on there, and boom. Before I install the last few screws, I'm going to go ahead and test everything. Turn the key, see if this phone starts charging. Phone is charging, which is good. Phone says it's charging. Let's check this. And it's working. Because the switch was originally just loose laying down in that area, and I took it and put it up where the switches are supposed to be. So now that's all good. And that brings us up to this point. I decided that I'm going to go ahead and install the subs in here. As you can see, I've got my sub wire partially started already. I've got it ran through the firewall and pretty much to the back. It's just a matter of throwing it over the seat. But I have discovered that I will have to sacrifice my back seats. But luckily they're easily removable. They're not even held in by any screws. So I'm going to easily remove those back seats and easily install these. The Jeep gave birth. I don't know why, but these are wet. They're awkwardly wet. And it's kind of uncomfortable. 1, 2, 3, go! when it comes down to actually wiring in your subs, you have three main wires that you normally have to worry about. You have your ground, your remote, and your power. I typically like to start with my ground wire, and your ground can go anywhere that, oh my gosh, that was unprofessional. Your ground can go anywhere that a screw goes through the frame of your car. So I went ahead and installed all the sub wiring. As you can see, I've got this, or my ground wire, nice and secured underneath the rear seat mounting bracket and ran up to the ground on my amp. I have this blue remote wire ran to my radio, so whenever the key turns, the radio would turn on, and when the radio turns on, it sends a signal to turn my amp on via this blue wire. And I went ahead and ran my red wire, which goes directly to the red post on your battery. Let's come up here to the front. I already have most of my wires tucked away and ran where I want them to be ran. So now it's time for the moment of truth. I'm gonna turn this key on. So when I turn this key, this radio should turn on, and it should turn on that blue light right there. So key is on. Radio is on. Blue light is on. Now to see if it's going. Okay, it's telling me to wait. I'm gonna listen to Karen for once. Come on, bitch. Damn, take forever. Okay. Booted up, popping that pussy, she make me cry. I swear I ain't gonna tell her I love her never again. So as you've seen, I have pretty much got the audio part of this vehicle taken care of. I went ahead and started assembling the dash, and I was going to put on the shift knob, and I realized how much of a pain in the ass this was to do, so I figured I would show you guys. To start off with taking this knob off, there's a cap. This cap right here, you're gonna want to pry that thing off with a flathead screwdriver. I honestly messed up my old knob. I don't know if there's a way to get it off without messing your old one up. But anyways, you pop that cap off, and there is a nut underneath it. I'm still in the process of figuring out what size that is. It looks like it would be a 14 if you ask me. This is a 14 right here, and that is too small, so it must be a 15. Alright, so it turns out that socket was a 15. And you're going to want to go ahead, or not the socket, that nut under here, it requires a 15 millimeter socket. You're going to want to go ahead and take this off, making sure that you're spinning it counterclockwise. And it should be off, honestly. Okay. There we go. Let's see if it, okay, and then from this point, then I believe it threads off. So you have to take that nut off first, then it threads off, which is plenty of fun. And I have this new shift knob here, so let's see if she fits. And it does. Alright guys, I'm gonna call that it for today's video. I got quite a bit done. I got the shift knob off, I got this outlet fixed, I got the switch mounted, and I got my subs set up. So, you know, I really have no complaints. I took the doors off for a little bit. I'm probably gonna go to the beach for a little bit and enjoy the rest of my day. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and enjoy.
If you find the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life